the All Bodies Fitness Podcast, brought to you by certified personal trainer and nutritional consultant Patricia Sullivan and co-founder Patrick Foster. This podcast is intended to motivate, inspire, and educate our listeners. As we explore all topics related to health and fitness, join us weekly for new episodes.
All right, hey.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
All right.
We're going to do a continuation of our fear-based theme.
October here, right?
Yeah, it's almost over, so if you're afraid it's never going to end, it's almost over.
That's right. All right, so we want to talk about a great goal success tip for everybody trying to achieve whatever goals they are. What are the only two real emotions, and how do you use them to move towards or, unfortunately, sometimes away from your goals?
Yeah, there really are only two real emotions, and it's either love or fear. And
Everything boils down to that.
yeah, I think I from all the things that I've been studying and I've been looking at it and trying to simplify it, and it really lays a foundation even for my own life and my own way of thinking and how I observe where I'm at, what state of mind I'm in, and I realize that when I'm in a bad place, I'm operating from a place of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm, in my best state of mind, I'm operating out of purity and love. That's this. I mean, I don't know how much simpler it can get than that.
That really boils it down, but it's kind of like levels, right? I mean, just like I've tried to explain to Gracie, like what is love, right? There's different kinds, and so love manifests itself in a lot of forms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's love and kindness. Kindness is a kind of love.
Mm-hmm.
There's a trust,
Right.
love, right? Trust in ourselves and each other, in the source that created us, right? All the places that you find good and caring and understanding and
Mm-hmm.
compassion and empathy and all those great words, right? Gentleness, kindness. It's all from love,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Isn't that true?
And we love our dog. I don't know if you can hear her. She's, I don't know, you may or may not, but in the background, if you hear like this gnawing sound, it's kind of going along with the Halloween
There
theme,
you go.
maybe. There's, we're in a haunted place, maybe. But, it's really just Luna gnawing at her bone.
Yeah.
So if you hear that, I don't know, maybe you don't even hear it.
That's okay.
So we'll see what
It's
happens.
kind of, like you said, it's a theme.
Yeah, I know. I think it would be kind of cool, actually. I'm hoping that you do actually hear like this background. Can you hear that? Yeah, a little gnawing going on.
She's having a good time.
Yeah, she's having a good time.
She operates out of a place of love 99% of the time, I think.
Yeah.
She does, right?
Yeah, unless she sees a bicyclist, a skateboarder, or, something like that.
Something that's all of a sudden surprises her, she gets scared, then
Yeah.
it's fear, and then that's when she barks.
Right.
And it makes us crazy.
But isn't that what happens with us, too, though?
True, right?
I mean,
yeah.
we like, we're operating out of a state of mind from this place of love, and then all of a sudden, something happens, and we're off into, this kind of fearful existence, right?
Yeah. Well, like it's so true that underneath, like, what so many people show their fear as is anger, right? Anger, the frustration, being annoyed. That's all under, it's all like covering up the fear
Right.
of somehow. Fear of not being in control, or fear that, reflects on them badly, or so many different fears.
And Luna must be afraid of something. She's chasing her tail right now and growling at herself. So, man, that kind of reminds me of something that I do to myself sometimes. Sometimes I feel like I'm chasing my own tail myself.
We're having a table just moved.
This is awesome.
Yeah, well, it's true. I mean, we all do. Like, if you think about your childhood, sometimes when you were corrected, when you were just trying to be in a place of fun and curiosity, a lot of times it's because your parents or whoever your guardian was, it might even be a sibling or whatever, was dealing with being afraid of what other people will think, right? So they wanted you to toe the line and behave and conform, right? Conformity is a huge place where we operate out of fear, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what else is conformity? It's the fear of having everybody do the same thing and control them,
Well, something I was listening to this morning reminded me that, a lot of what we're afraid of is based on what might happen, not actually in reality. And
True.
you know,
Very true.
the acronym for that is false evidence
Appearing
appearing real.
real is fear. Yeah, I love
Right.
that. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So a lot of times, I mean, I can think of just yesterday, you know, how my thinking is sometimes where, you know, it's not really what's happening. It's imagined in my own mind, in my own way of thinking, and then that becomes something that I focus on, and it becomes a belief, and it becomes a stronghold within you, and it makes it really difficult to operate in a you know in a place of perfect, you know, connection to source, which is where everything originates.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about it, I mean, if you believe that, you know, love is the source
All you need is love.
of all of our energy.
Yeah.
And yeah, right, all the beautiful songs, you know, that we, you know, but we have been created out of love. So we weren't created out of fear.
Mm-hmm.
And when we operate out of fear, we are estranged from the connection from which we originate.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to get back to that, and we have to shift. We have to make a shift. You know, there has to be a purposeful way of identifying and making a choice to push ourselves into a better state of mind. And that, you know, I'm talking about, this is what I say to myself. This is how I help myself get out of these kind of funks that I might get into here and there. And because it really does boil down to those two emotions,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Fear and love.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I find that too
and
as well.
identifying where you're at.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm in a really, you know, in a bad place, and your thoughts kind of like cascade, it feels like, right? You start with, you know, a little fear, and if you like entertain that thought
Mm-hmm.
and let it grow,
Yeah.
it grows like a weed really fast.
Yeah.
You know, and you project yourself down this whole path of like it leading to someplace really bad and horrible and painful.
Oh
and
yeah,
dark.
all kinds of things are happening in your life when
Yeah.
you start to entertain the initial fear that stemmed, you know, or that created that sense of or triggered that emotion.
Mm-hmm.
That made you feel like, you know, you weren't enough, that you know, that you were going to fail,
Mm-hmm.
that you were not going to be able to have that connection that you wanted, or, you know, whatever it was
Whatever it was you were looking for. Yeah.
yeah, whatever it was, whatever fulfillment that you were looking for. And the thing is, what's tricky about it too, though, is realizing is that, you know, to get into the state of mind of being from love is no more than realizing that you're already there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
You know, that because you in yourself were created out of love, so you are actually a piece of what it was that created you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that doesn't blow your mind. So actually, you know, you already are, you know, from where you are right now, in that place of being in love.
Well, yeah, the same infinite intelligence that created the whole universe, whatever you believe, you know, in your religious doctrine, but it comes down to whatever you believe created the universe, your name for God, right? Is part of what created you, and you're part of them. So it's like you're a small piece of it.
Yeah.
And so how could the piece that is you, if you're acting out of your pure self, which is love, how could it ever be wrong? You have to trust in yourself, because if you don't trust in yourself, you're not trusting in that source that created you and designed you for whatever purpose you're here for.
Yeah.
Right.
And whatever operates out of fear can't be love, and whatever operates out of love cannot be fear.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I've been able to really, you know, identify and help myself to see things more clearly, to be able to make it easier for me to make a shift when I simplify it to the point where, you know, am I operating out of a place of fear, or am I operating out of a place of love? And love is always in a place of giving.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. You don't even need to. It's like it's a weird thing that I discovered a long time ago too. Like, say you have an estrangement from a family member, a loved one, just a friend, whatever, right? And say you text that person, say it's your sister or something, right? Say you text them, and you're operating at a place of love, and you're trying to connect and be out there and offer support, love, whatever, and they don't reply. You can let fear take over and just start making this whole story in your head of, oh, they don't care about me. I'm a big joke to them, blah, blah. And you can just cascade down this whole horrible place that I never wanted to deal with that person anyway. And you can just get all angry and frustrated and go to this place of all bad when it could be that they just didn't see the text. They missed the one. Or they were so super busy they didn't get to you. And then you'll get a text later in that day and they'll be like, oh, sorry, I was just so busy I didn't get a chance to get back to you. And I forgot.
False evidence appearing real.
Yeah, exactly. So you can choose, and even if you don't hear from them, you can choose not to entertain any of those thoughts, get those negative thoughts right out of your head, and just say, well, it doesn't even matter what they think. I'm operating at a place of love, and I'm offering that love, and I can still love them even if they hate my guts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that my siblings do. I think my siblings love me too, but I'm just giving an example. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That it doesn't matter even if they cared about me or not.
Yeah, because you're operating from a place of love that's giving, and you're not looking with any expectation of receiving.
Yeah.
So,
and it gives back to you too.
And we want to give you guys something right now, so I guess we're going to take a quick short break.
Excellent, good idea.
Be right back.
Hey, we hope that you're enjoying this podcast, and as a special free bonus for our listeners, Patricia is going to tell you about our amazing 7-day workout challenge.
That's right. Do you want to feel energized and jazzed up for your day? You don't have to go to a gym to speed up your metabolism. With our 7-day challenge, you'll get a 15-minute exercise video emailed to you at 5 a.m. each of the 7 days. We'll encourage you and work on your mindset as we work on your muscles. Join us at allbodiesfitness.click. That's CLICK.
All right, welcome back.
Welcome back.
Okay, so here we are talking about some of these examples that you gave, and I think they're awesome. So, fear is something that we celebrate every year here around Halloween.
Yeah, that's true.
We push ourselves into situations. We
like it, right? We look for that fear. Right?
Yeah, we go to scary movies. We go to haunted houses
and hay rides and kinds of scary, spooky stuff, and we push our children towards it too, which is kind of strange.
and the thing, I guess
I don't.
But I guess what I get out of all that though is that any fearful situation is really there to test, challenge, and allow us to learn to return to our source.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Is that, and I think that's why a lot of times, even with Halloween, it's all, it's all about the fun, and and you make it kind of a, it doesn't always have to be like this scary thing, but it's kind of a, it's scary with a little bit of humor.
Yeah, a lot of times, yeah. Well, a lot of those scary movies are. But I think that's part of it too, is that, it's like, it's anxiety or fear, but it's almost the same as excitement, right? Like that feeling of anxiety or excitement is almost the same feeling in our body. It's just how we perceive it. So that's how I've overcome some of my fears as I we've talked about it before, you go back to a place of curiosity and let the anxiety become anticipation and excitement. It's like, oh, how are they going to do this?
Well, like we talked about last week is, get curious about your fears. Get, instead of just being absorbed in it. And this is what I've been practicing this, and it's been helpful to me, is, asking, what is it that I'm afraid of? Why is it that I feel this way? What is it that is driving me to feel and fear whatever it is that I'm facing? And what can I do to, is it real? And the thing is, like, we were talking about, I think we already mentioned it, but most fear is not real fear. I mean, real fears, they happen to everybody. Everybody faces them at some point.
Well, it's not like, you're walking a dog and a vicious dog is running against you, towards you. That's a real fear, because now you don't know what this dog is going to do. It sounds vicious. It looks vicious. You don't know if there's going to be a big fight with your dog, if you have to get in the middle of them and all that. That's real fear, That's a legitimate, right? And it's going to be over in a moment.
But think about that. Think about that for a minute. If you if you know, like you can think of some times, and I can think of some times when we faced real fearful events, and the reality of that is that at some point in the progression of going through those fears and coming out of them, it was changing our state of mind and being from fear to some type of joyful, some type of loving type of state of mind.
So curiosity is a form of love, I think, too, because it's part of creativity.
Yeah.
And you can't create while you're in a fearful space rather.
Mm-hmm.
You can only create when you're in a loving space.
Right.
And that's the curiosity part. And sometimes you have to force yourself to get there and to get over the fear,
It is. You do have to force yourself to shift. I've been having to do that too. I mean, the meditation in the morning, that helps to set the pattern for how I would like my day to go. Having a continual watch on the way that I'm thinking, that helps. And realizing and being aware that I'm directly responsible for all the things that are happening in my life, first of all, and that I've invited them, I've invited whatever it is that's happening in my life somehow or another by the way that I've lived or thought or, acted.
Chosen.
I've made choices along the way that have opened up the pathway for certain things to happen in my life.
Yeah.
And, and embrace that.
We all have.
Embrace that.
Yeah, we all have. Good or bad, right?
Yeah. So, and the thing is that you can grow from that. And I think that's what fear is really ultimately all about, because we were talking about how in the beginning you said you wanted to structure this theme about how you use fear to move towards or away from your goals. And also that was based on fear or love, So how do you use love to move towards your goal, and how does it take you away from your goals when you're not acting out of love, right?
Well, yeah, I think love will move you towards your goals because you got to love yourself.
Yeah.
And you want to achieve more and give more, right? Because sometimes it's both at the same time. Sometimes you could achieve and give at the same time, as in giving your family an inspiration, giving your friends inspiration, not letting the people down, right? Sometimes too. Like if I declared right now, which I'm not, that I was going to run a marathon, I have no desire to because it's torture in the body. But if I declared it right now, then then I'd want to give that example to my daughter that I follow through with the training necessary to get to that point.
Yeah.
And and the work you have to put in for it, and because you get rewarded in public for what you practice in private, right?
Right.
But I mean, we maintain, you and I both, a certain level of fitness because it's kind of our standard, right? And part of that is because we'd be fearful not to be, but also because I love ourselves and we want to be healthy, right? And if you keep yourself healthy, good nutrition, which
you
we realize
the benefits of
you're loving your
being
body,
fitter and healthier, and how it affects you emotionally, how it affects you physically, and it just, and how it affects being able to be ready to be there for other people.
Exactly.
So it's all around. It's
all around
solid.
It's all around loving yourself and loving your community and those around you. It's, to me, that I think about, no offense if any of you are smokers, but smoking is the ultimate selfishness in a way. And I've done it in the past too. I'm guilty myself.
Me too.
Because
I've been a smoker.
Because you're hurting yourself, right? You're hurting the people around you that are breathing it. You're hurting the planet. You're littering 9 times out of 10. You're throwing those buds on the ground or throwing them out the car window. And like I said, I've been guilty of this in my past too. And it's not contributing in any way good to the society or yourself, and ultimately it would lead to death, in some form or another. And so it's a really selfish thing to do in that way. And I think a lot of people quit not only for their own health, but for their loved ones around them, so that they could be around for them and not be a burden by being, on a respirator and dying or whatever. You know what I mean? Getting cancer. So, I think having the good goals and the love towards yourself is loving towards others too. I don't know where I went off on a tangent.
I don't know either. Wow. I'm not sure where that came from. That just
well, because Gracie and I on community service picked up
a heck of
a lot of cigarette butts.
And you're like,
so I was,
man, there's a lot of smokers out here. I know it happens. Like we walk outside and the car is parked right there in the spot, and I notice cigarette butts right by the
it's so annoying.
by the driver's side door. I'm like, how'd this get here? I'm
yeah,
not
I'm
smoking.
not a smoker. People walk by and go, no, but I
Just
mean
flicking their
also
butts over
to
there,
try
right?
and explain it to my daughter because I don't want to ever see her smoke, make the mistakes I did in my past, and I know, as an adult, and we're all hypocrites at some point, right? But we know how bad it is, and like my mom who did smoke, she was born in 1929. When she started, they didn't know it was bad for you, so it's a totally different universe.
Well, it comes down to,
Yeah.
I think, something we were trying to figure this out. It was talking about the fulfillment thing, right? What was it? Do you remember what it was?
I wrote it down.
But I know that one of the things that's really interesting is that I know, thinking back, when I was smoking, and when I did a lot of different things that weren't healthy for me, and what I was doing was trying to get some type of fulfillment.
Yeah. Well,
A
obviously, it
sense
fulfills
of
a need.
fulfillment.
Yeah.
Fulfilling a need. Yeah, fulfilling a need of certainty, or I don't know what need exactly.
Probably certainty and
Right.
connection in some way too, but there's a lot of needs. I think there's probably,
especially when your life is full of uncertainty. There's certain things that you might be acclimated or attracted to doing that provide a sense of certainty, but are still kind of really unhealthy, and yet you do them even though you hate the results that it provides for you, because it
like eating a whole box of chocolate.
right? What's the quote again? Maybe it fits in that.
The addictions.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess addiction is based on fear because you go after what you can never get enough of, because all addictions are telling yourself you'll never get enough of what you despise.
Right.
And this was Dr. Wayne Dyer, who's no longer with us, so we came and asked him what he meant.
We were like mulling over
but
that.
what does he mean going after what you despise? You don't get enough of what you despise.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, I mean,
I still don't get it.
You know what? I hated smoking, and yet I was super. I had to have it, and I did it because it provided some sense of fulfilling some type of need, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Certainty.
But I still despised it. I hated it.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
But I did it anyway.
Yeah. Well, it also is a chemical addiction, but it's an emotional addiction too, right? And part of me is very cynical from New Jersey, if you guys haven't noticed. But one of my things was like, if you're given into the addiction of cigarettes or food addictions and that kind of thing too, is that you're letting the bastards win. Oh, I can't say that word. Right. But that's the old saying from the war, right? Don't let them.
Why can't you say that word?
I don't know. Is that a bad word? I don't know either. But it's like you're letting the people that are feeding this addiction to you, like the drug pushers of the cigarettes.
If the SEC comes down, we'll find out if it's a bad word.
But it's true. I mean, people that make the tobacco products and they've switched to vaping a lot of times, they know they're hurting people, but they continue to offer it because they make a profit, right?
I've heard some people on some podcasts say some much
worse things.
I've heard some F-bombs on some podcasts.
No, we're not going to drop any F-bombs.
No F-bombs.
But I mean, it's true in a way. Part of me was like, I'm not going to let the smoking manufacturers that are benefiting from, a voluntary.
Well, we are really on a
a
cigarette rant here. Man, wow. Let me tell you what. All from the community service, huh?
And we have another 12, 13 hours.
Another 13 hours. So you're.
Well, it sounds like we're criminal.
Sounds like you're afraid of all the cigarette butts you're going to have to pick up in the future.
No, I wasn't even picking them up. But it sounds like we're criminals doing community service. But it's for school. But
school project.
Yeah, school project. But anyway, and I'm happy to help clean up the environment. Yeah. I love doing it actually. But the cigarette buds, it's like, oh my gosh, you don't realize how many it's out there. But
it doesn't really annoy you that much, does it? It's not a big deal, right?
Well, my mom smoked. Like I said, she didn't know. Yeah. My sister, who's now healthier, Jeannie, we love you. She smoked. My nephew Louie, I believe he's quitting, or he has quit, or he's in the process. I don't know. He's quit. So we know there's hope out there. People that we never thought would quit have quit. Right? Yeah. You and I, from years ago too. So it's a really good thing. So we want to encourage you all. If you need help, email us and I'll call you. Tell you not to smoke every time you want to.
How about that? Well, the thing is that what we really want to do is help people to see that they don't have to live in an existence that isn't producing the best quality life that they would desire for themselves. Now,
That's nicely put,
if you're in a place where you're so overwhelmed by depression, or you're so overwhelmed by, or fatigued by fearful thoughts, and you just can't see yourself moving forward, well, we want you to know that there is a path forward.
Yes, and we care.
And we do care.
Yeah.
And I know that because I've been through some of that myself, and I find myself even still slipping into it every once in a while.
Yeah, well, I do too. Yeah.
It's not a battle that ever ends, but it is a battle that can be overcome.
Yeah, and that's something that's like I've said lots of times. The journaling really helps, because if you find yourself slipping into dark places, sometimes you have to like write it down. It's like, well, what was different about that day that got me there? Or did it happen because I was so tired that night, not sleeping enough, or
and that
working super hard?
That happens to me when I get really tired. Mm-hmm. It is so easy for me to slip into being so negative and so.
Well, that's what I told you. Yeah, right.
I mean, because I work really hard.
Yeah, you do.
I work really hard, and then I get really tired, and then but the thing is, though, is that can't be an excuse.
Yeah,
and the thing is when you're operating from a place, and you learn to practice and operate from a place of of your source and love, that doesn't become an excuse. That becomes a challenge to overcome, mm-hmm. and become better. And it's not something you have to give into.
I love it. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the way my day started today. It's like I had a choice,
mm-hmm. We all have a choice,
because I went to bed last night not in such a good state.
Yeah, me too. Oh.
Not as good a state as I would have liked.
Very dark place last
night. And I'm wondering, and when I got up this morning, it was like I had a choice. How am I going to, start my day? How am I going to progress through my day?
What am I going to focus on?
Yeah,
love it.
And the thing is that I made a choice, mm-hmm. and I feel so much better.
Yeah,
as a result of that. You know what I mean?
Excellent. Yep.
And now we want to help everybody else feel that same way.
Mm-hmm.
And we just want to simplify it and make it so that you can just identify, mm-hmm. simply by knowing whether or not you're in a place of fear in your state of being and your mindset, or if you're operating out of, a place of love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's something that is so powerful once you realize that, because Dr. Wayne Dyer, great inspiration, he had said, when you see other people, sometimes just think love.
Just think of the opposites of everything.
And it's like, well, it really changes my state, because then you find yourself with a better smile on your face.
Yeah.
You have better interactions with people. You look at people from a place of, love and kindness and all that, rather than, hey, they cut me off, Well,
I had to do that. 2 days ago, I did that. I challenged myself to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Was I noticed that, how I felt when I put a big smile on my face.
Yeah,
it's weird,
like, right? Yeah.
Wow, this is great. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go around all day long, if I can, with a big smile on my face and see what that's like.
It would hurt after a while.
Yeah. It did. But here's the thing is that when you start practicing some of those types of, activities, you will find that you will have an easier time of shifting. You'll become more acutely aware of when you're not in the right frame of mind, the right mindset, and you also have the ability to shift more quickly when you start practicing these.
That's the beautiful thing. It becomes like I think I heard Tony Robbins say, it becomes an emotional muscle. He could change states quickly, and if we could all learn that, we'd be in a much better, happy place. And we're working on it too.
We are working on it.
Yeah, we're all works in progress. So keep working at it, and keep on your journey.
Yeah, for sure.
Stay the course.
Stay the course.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Good stuff.
Okay, so I guess we're good until next week.
Yeah, we'll talk to you again next week.
What are we doing next week?
It'll be another fear theme. We'll have to come up with something interesting.
Another fear theme, huh?
Yeah, well, it's still October.
Yeah. It is, right? October's such a long month.
I know, gosh. A lot of Tuesdays in October.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that we were going to be doing fear all month long, and it was such a long month, right?
Your idea, honey.
Well,
maybe we'll talk about something about fear at the gym and how to avoid it, or something interesting, different.
Yeah, we'll try to
come up with something good, I'm sure.
try to put a good twist on
Yeah.
it.
All right. Well, that's a good one.
All right.
Thank you so much.
See y'all later.
All right. Take care.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If we added value for you, please let us know. Give us a rating, leave us feedback, or email us at info@allbodiesfitness.com. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future podcasts.